Hello, beautiful souls. This is Elena Maria Fouché with Mindfulness Made Easy. I want to talk a little bit today about some things that uh, a friend of mine and I both experienced something, which is I was sitting talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and she said, Elena, I'm doing that really good thing that we all know to do in mindfulness. I'm sitting and I'm noticing my feelings, and lately she's been feeling really uncomfortable, overwhelmed with emotions, really unstable, frustrated, all these kinds of things. And she said, I've been sitting with them, I'm really noticing them, and now what? And I smiled because totally in empathy, because the day before I was standing in my kitchen and I don't know what I was just cooking something or cleaning or something. And I was noticing how crazy I felt, how overwhelmed, how imbalanced, how frustrated. I think there was guilt and shame and anger, all kinds of stuff really just spinning around. And so I was being with it, and I was continuing to chop my vegetables, being with it, da 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 da. And I totally had this thought like, okay, now what? And I realized in that moment, as my friend, of course, realized too, that what we need to do in those moments is keep noticing. That's all we need to do. It's so simple. And sometimes we miss it because, of course, our reaction to pain and discomfort and overwhelm and anything that we don't like is we want it to go away. So we usually do one of two things. We usually make it go away or try to make it go away by repressing it and denying it. Oh, everything's fine. I'm fine. Or we try and fix it, right? We try and make whatever we think is making us angry or afraid, like, you're making me angry, you have to stop doing that. We try and fix it somehow. We try and make the external situation better so that we don't feel whatever we're feeling. And you know as well as I do that that rarely works. And mindfulness gives us this great tool of noticing how you feel. So there I was in my kitchen, noticing, like really feeling what it felt like to feel frustrated, like feeling it in my chest, like feeling the physical sensations, my chest being tight, my head felt kind of crazy and spinny. So, feeling it physically, what are all the sensations I'm having? Does it have a smell, a taste, a sound, tightness? And also noticing my thoughts, what am I thinking? Really embodying it as much as I can. And most of the time, that actually dissipates it. And when it doesn't, as much as I can, I keep noticing. I try not to fix it. I try not to make it go away. I try to stay with it. I try to keep noticing. I try to stay here with it and keep noticing it. And as painful as that is, as painful, as difficult it is to want to be angry and want to feel the anger and want to really embody it, touch it, taste it, smell it. What does this feel like right now? As difficult as that can be, because of course I want to change it, it's incredibly helpful. It's hugely helpful. Why? Well, very simple things start happening. In my kitchen, I started realizing what was really going on for me. And what was going on for me inside, not who I was blaming or, the external things. It was what was inside. And as I could really start to notice and feel and listen to myself, then it started dissipating. And sometimes it takes 20 minutes of feeling crazy and just staying with the craziness. Sometimes it takes an hour. Sometimes it comes back hour after hour. Sometimes it takes days, months. I've even worked on things for years. The thing is the more I'm willing to stay with them every time they come up and be present with them and notice them and feel and notice and thought, and, whatever I can notice about the thing, sense it, smell it, taste it, really notice. The more I learn about myself in that situation, and essentially I'm using these things, or we can think of these things as like information. It's helping me understand myself and what I'm going through. It's helping me understand, wow, I finally see why I'm afraid in this situation. I finally see what's really happening for me. A really simple example is my husband wants to play in a tennis tournament in Cape Town, South Africa, and he wants me to go with him because I've never been to South Africa, and it's fun for me to take me to this place, and also for me to be there to support him. And without too much thought, he had us going right before the tournament and coming back right after the tournament. And I started feeling really uncomfortable with that. And all these feelings started coming up of like, I'm not being loved, I'm not being taken care of, I'm not, and on top of that was feelings of like jealousy and anger and pointing fingers, like, you don't love me, blah, blah, blah. And then I start feeling ashamed, like, oh my gosh, and guilty, and why am I feeling like this when he's giving me this beautiful gift of getting to support him and going to this beautiful country, and what's happening? So I've got all this stuff going on, right? And we're trying to figure out with a travel agent which tickets to book. And I'm this huge mass of junk that I don't want to be feeling. And so that one worked out pretty quickly. I sat with it for a little while. I was talking to him and I would pause and just feel. And I realized that what was underneath all that guilt and shame and anger and finger pointing and fear and blah, 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 was I realized, I didn't feel like I could really support him if I also wanted in the little, hours between his matches to be able to go and see Cape Town. That what was really going on for me was I wanted to be there to support him during the tournament. And then I wanted to really be there for him for that and not have my attention divided between the tournament and in between trying to see Cape Town. I really wanted some time before or after the tournament there to see Cape Town. So I could, really put my attention into Cape Town and then really put my attention into him and the tournament. And if I hadn't been willing to sit with that while we were having that conversation and really like feel into and feel the shame and the guilt and the fear and the finger pointing and all the stuff I was feeling, anger, and just be with it, I wouldn't have finally figured out what I needed through all of that. And so this is what we're talking about when we're talking about acceptance. And this, like, what happens when you do this. You've done this for yourself. You've sat through something, or maybe later you realize what was really going on. So this is not new. The key really is that it's the willingness to take the time. It's the willingness to sit with and be with and embody and feel, notice, sense the crap. It's not super comfortable, and yet it's incredibly useful. And I can guarantee you in my life, it makes an enormous difference. It is so much better than trying to make the thing go away. Because it's here for a reason. It's trying to tell me something. All right. So this is a long one. I hope it helps. I know a lot of us are really struggling right now with a lot of overwhelm. The energy in the world, to me right now, is really chaotic and crazy and overwhelming. And I think a lot of us are having a hard time and struggling. And I hope this offering either inspires you to do what I'm talking about or inspires you to find your own way to deal with difficult emotions. So best of luck with all of that. And may you really, be able to be with yourself and really understand yourself more and more deeply over time. Take care, and I'll see you next time.